All right, today's YouTube video is going to be who's better of my music series. And then later I'll make a sports video prediction on, you know, the New England Patriots and the Kansas City Chief. And I know y'all going to want me to make a prediction on the Rams and the Saints, and that video will be coming this week too. But today's video, it's a very interesting video. Somebody last year told me they want me to make season 2 a lot better than season 1. Like they actually want actual matchups. There are actual matchups. Well, you want one, you got one. This one is something I've been thinking about for a long time, and I have to ask myself, between Ice Cube and the Game, who really is the king of the West Side? Who really is West Side? You know, Ice Cube. I'm Ice Cube, mother. And the Game. Blah, blah, blah. All right, now let's start with my man Ice Cube. Now his real name is O'Shea Jackson, and he was born in South Central California. You know, some say South Central, some say Compton, but I'm pretty certain that it's actually South Central California. Now, he was born in the, late 60s, early 1970s. He grew up, and at that time, he had to watch all the rap in different locations. Now, it wasn't until 1981, 1982, when he was in junior high, going into high school, that he started writing his raps, just like you saw in the movie Straight Outta Compton. And some of the stuff you saw in the movie actually did happen. He did see some gang members come on the bus and, threaten to blow a kid away for putting up, Crip gang sign and shit. And from that point on, he hooked up with Dre and Easy and MC Red and DJ Yella. And you should know by now that they created NWA by the time it was 1986. NWA was born. As you should know what that stands for, niggas with attitude. And, their first album went double platinum. I mean, platinum then double platinum overnight. Now, Ice Cube was credited that he wrote 5 of those songs that you heard. And then, of course, by 1989, he had a fallout with NWA and ended up creating his own group, Lynch Mob Records, I think. I'll double check that, but he ended up creating his own group. And then when he created West Side Connection, Ice Cube had already done 3 albums, which was amazing. He done his first album, which was entitled Natural Born Killers, and then he turned around and names it the same damn song. And then he makes a second album, which, like I said, ended up being Volume 1, West Side Connections. And then he would come back and make his next album where he would call it Ice Cube Gangster. So that was like 3 damn albums, and then right when he creates the West Side Connection album, so I guess you could say that in 5 years he created 4 albums. And on his solo album, he dissed Eazy-E because he couldn't believe that he got kicked out of the group. And you see, once he partnered up with Dre with Today Was a Good Day, true love it dun 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 dun. I asked the boys, which park you playing basketball? Today was a good day. I didn't even have to break my gap. Ice Cube. That was a good song. Then I like this one. I put bars on Dre. Yeah, yeah. I put bars on Dre. Oh, yeah. I put bars on Dre. Yeah, yeah. There's that. Then there's Yeah, We Be Clubbing. There's We Be Clubbing Players Club album. Remember that? So Ice Cube did that soundtrack. And then, of course, we all know that further in the 1990s, he got into it with another rap group called Cypress Hill, which Cypress Hill didn't appreciate Ice Cube taking a song and making it, oh, yeah, throw your set up in the K like you don't care. Oh, yeah. And then he made one of the disses for the 1990s that we'll still to this day remember. King of the Hill. And face the fact you ain't got enough skill to kill the king of the hill. He made that diss, and Ice Cube made a lot of classical rap songs in that time period. I would say by the time we got to 1999, Ice Cube had done like 8 albums at that point. 8 albums. And then he made You Wonder Why We Thugs. So that was album number 9. Then he made I Am the West. That's album number 10. Then, for whatever reason, he decided to pop out album 11, which ended up being the Ice Cube Greatest of All Times album. And then just last year, he dropped another album, which would probably be album 12. So, if anything, he's got like 12 to 13 albums in a 23-year span. In 23 years, he's popped out 12 to 13 albums. He's appeared on 15 other albums of other rappers. He's done songs with Mac 10 before they had a fallout. He done songs with Little John. Remember the grand finale? Who the fuck is that? It's Ice Cube, motherfucker. It's a maniac. It's Ice Cube, mother. What you heard about it? It's so true, mother. You know, he appeared on that. Then he did a song with Little John. Y'all can't mess with my clique. Y'all can't F with my clique. And then he did that song for Oakland Raiders. Raider Nation. No, yeah. Blue West Side. Yeah, he did all them classical songs. And I was a huge Ice Cube fan in the late 1980s, early 1990s. Now, of course, he broke into television and film. Oh, yeah, he done movies like Ride Along Part 2, Barbershop 1, 2, and 3. So he did 3 movies of Barbershop, 2 films of Ride Along. There was Are We There Yet 1 and 2. He did those movies. So he done some movies. And let's not forget he done movies like Higher Learning. Yeah, he was in that. He was in I Got the Hookup. You know, he had a cameo in that film. He appeared in Anaconda, you know, his first debut of acting. Well, actually, it wasn't his debut, but it was a movie where it was something different. And he was in Boys in the Hood. So he got to be in Boys in the Hood, as well as Higher Learning. And then, of course, there's Anaconda. Then there's The Ghost of Mars. Yeah, Ice Cube was in a science fiction film. You know, very badass. Come on, you mindless motherfuckers! I mean, yeah, it's Ice Cube. Come on now. And then, of course, he was in, what other film he was in? Oh, yeah, he ended up participating in Triple X. He ended up being in Triple X 2. And he popped up in Triple X 3, which shocked me because I didn't think Ice Cube would show up in a third film of the trilogy of Triple X. So he's been in 2 films of Triple X. So Ice Cube gets in these movies. And when Ice Cube gets in these movies, he gets in these movies. And of course, Ice Cube had a television show, which we all know he co-wrote and produced and did some directing. So Ice Cube showed that he can write, he can produce, he can direct, he can write songs, he can rap. You know, Ice Cube does television and film and music. And now he has something else added to his name, which he created his own version of the NBA. If you don't know by now, he calls it the Big Three, where he takes retired professional basketball players and help them play towards, you know, if they retire from the NBA and, you know, help them make some money so no one is struggling when their career is over. Because he was tired of seeing athletes retire from sports and they have nothing to show for and then they're broke. So in the kindness of his heart, he gave back to his own black community. And this is a guy that's went from seeing people on the street corner get robbed and shot, harassed by the police, to joining NWA, to creating Lynch Mob, to creating West Side Connections, to having his own basketball team, his own basketball organization. In 23 years, Ice Cube has come a long way. And Ice Cube is really great at doing that. Now, for the game. Now, the game does have a real name. You know, I think his name is Davion Tay or something like that, or Davion. Someone in the comment section will correct me because they always do. But anyway, he came up in the late 1990s. Remember Death Row? Remember Suge Knight? Remember Suge Knight? Remember them Bloods? Yeah, he was actually among them. If you ever look at any of those pictures, the youngest guy with a damn hoodie on that's in blood red, that's his ass. He was in there talking to Tupac, talking to Dre, talking to Snoop, and he was in there busting out raps with them. And Snoop commented and said, "Hey, yo, cuz, you're gonna be the big thing in the future, cuz." And the game like, "Is that right?" And Dre like, "Yeah, wait until your ass get a little older and we'll sign you to Death Row Records." which we all know that never happened, of course, because Suge Knight was Suge Knight and Dre quit and left, and Snoop and Tupac had a fight and had a fallout, and then Daz and Corrupt couldn't take this shit no more, so they bounced. And Death Row was now not looking too very well, and then what happened? Pac got popped in Vegas. Sad tragedy in the game. Opportunities of being signed by a label just went up in smokes. And then when Suge got out of jail, maybe some 8 years later, they try to create that role. But by that time, the game had signed with Dr. Dre's record label, Aftermath, which Shady has Shady Records, and 50 Cent created G-Unit. And that's where the game got signed. And that's where we got to see what he could really do on the mic. When he made The Game Is On Top, and I ain't gonna stop until my heart stops, on Raps MVP, and I ain't going nowhere, so you gonna have to get to know me. That was a good hit. Went double platinum overnight. Everybody was buying his album. Sold 1 million copies. Almost close to 2 million copies. And yeah, it did create some type of jealousy and animosity between 50 Cent and the game. And then the game just took off. He took C Murder's disc, which I'm amazed he was able to get the permission to do, because I don't know how you can take somebody's disc and use it to diss somebody else without getting dissed in return. But he dissed the hell out of Yukmouth. Like, he made like 2 to 3 damn songs dissing Yukmouth. When he made Doom 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 Doom, I got game, fuck with me, nigga, and your ass can get it. I said, oh shit, the game going off on the mic. The game in there going off. He dissed the hell out of him. Like, my favorite lyric is when he say, my blood pressure rise, I bring the bloods out, blow his guts out, and that's how you get a young man. I was like, oh damn. Took I Got 5 on it, one of my favorite songs by Yukmouth, and dissed him with his own diss. Like, what he was doing was unheard of. Like, when the game did it, it was like a resurrection of Tupac all over again. Because the only rapper that would take your own diss and diss you with it on the mic was Tupac. And when the game did it, I said, oh shit, that he must have been watching Tupac in the studios when Tupac did hit him up, because the only way he could have done that was the way he did it. And then, of course, he dissed 50 Cent, which, to me, I think that's where his career took a big, major hit. I mean, he couldn't make no more albums after that. Everything was mixtape after mixtape after mixtape. I mean, yeah, he put out a solo album after he got disbanded, and then he still kept dissing 50. When he made One Blood and said, yo, Dre, I ain't dead, I'm like, you're lucky Dre ain't got on the phone and call you and say, what the hell's wrong with you, man? Went out and dissed 50 Cent again. And then, of course, he did songs with the cousin of Eazy-E, the nephew, Mike Jones and Slim Thug. He turned around and did songs with Lil Wayne and Drake, which people were shocked. Like, these guys were your enemies for years. Now you're doing songs with them. Like, what the hell? And he explained that they weren't really my enemies. They were 50 Cent's enemies, which I wouldn't even say that on television. But the game is the game for a reason. And then, of course, he popped up in the televisions and movies. And then, of course, not too long ago, the game put out an album, I think a year ago. And I went to 24 Hour Fitness this past weekend and saw him do a video. So I was like, he's back in the things of his rap career. I love that song he did with R. Kelly, Players Only. He did a song with Kanye West, which I was shocked. I mean, he did a song with Floyd Rider. Again, he's doing rap songs. So the game is showing you he can survive without G-Unit. But I still feel like that to this day, it damaged his rap career because it ain't the same. Like, yeah, you're making albums, you're doing songs, you kicking ass and taking names, but when you think about your royalty checks and you think about your publicists, you know who you have to sit down and talk to. And I just don't think I don't think he wants to go, there were talks maybe 5 years ago that he actually picked the phone up and called 50 and said, yo, 50, let's sit down and do business. And 50 like, oh, hell no, you messed that up, man. And the game was like, come on, man, let's put this grudge aside. And 50 thought about it and said, I'll put the grudge aside, but I just not going to take a risk on bringing you back and then you trip out again when something bad happens. So no. So it's been quiet ever since them two try to go behind the scenes and try to negotiate business. I think the only way you'll ever see something like that is when the game is 40 years old or 45 and people say, all right, too much time has passed by, give us a G-Unit reunion. I think that'd be the only way you would see something like that. And I guess Dre would probably have to be the negotiator on that. Now, who is better, Ice Cube or the Game? Now, the thing with Ice Cube is when people call Ice Cube a perpetrator, they always say he tries to become something he's not. Now, as for the Game, you know, the Game actually did try to pop somebody back in the day. Oh yeah, he you know, when he make that sound, you know you in trouble. So I'm gonna say by a slight edge, by a slight margin, the Game beats Ice Cube just because he's just real. And I'm not saying Ice Cube ain't real, but you can't become something you're not by betraying an image on an album. And then when you see him in person, he's not even the image that you see on the front cover. And I'm talking about Ice Cube. Like, he's a stand-up nice guy to talk to. The Game, you can't even go up to the Game for an autograph unless the Game knows who you are or unless he trusts you. And if his entourage think you're bad, then yeah, you probably gonna get a West Side ass whooping. So yeah, the Game is real. So I'm giving the win to the Game. Until next time, peace.